srcu jedna želja ostane ostvarena. Šta ću ja, ko to zna? Ona koju ja zavole još se nije vratila. Šta ću ja, ko to zna? Ale mi je, pa mi je, niko ne zna šta mi je. Samo jedna žena zna, koju ludo volim ja. Ale mi je, pa mi je, niko ne zna šta mi je. Samo jedna žena zna, koju ludo volim ja. Lane, lane moje Janje, Janje moje, ja još uvijek čekam na tebe. Lane, lane moje Janje, Janje moje, čekam, čekam na tebe. Danju nema mira, nema sna. Šta ću ja, ko to zna? Da li će opet meni doći draga kao nekada? Šta ću ja, ko to zna? Ale mi je, pa mi je, niko ne zna šta mi je. Samo jedna žena zna, koju ludo volim ja. Ale mi je, pa mi je, niko ne zna šta mi je. Samo jedna žena zna, koju ludo volim ja. Lane, lane moje Janje, Janje moje, ja još uvek čekam na tebe. Lane, lane moje Janje, Janje moje, čekam, čekam na tebe. Lane, lane moje Janje, Janje moje, ja još uvek čekam na tebe. Lane, lane moje Janje, Janje moje, čekam, čekam na tebe.
One time I remember we were supposed to go, we were singing down a Greek church or something, and Father Markovina wouldn't let me go because I didn't come to practice. And I said, I know those songs backwards and forwards. It didn't make any difference.
My first professor was Dobrovolsky. And he used to, after we had our practice, he used to ride the West Womaning group home, which was my family, more or less. And one day he took me home. I jumped out of the car and run across the street, and don't you know, I got run over with a big dump truck, coal truck. It was Serbia that owned the coal truck, Živković. But I was all right, I didn't get hurt.
And as my father always said, Nimu imush kosupski imush to. And thank you all for giving me the opportunity to help and pay back some of the things that's been given to me by my church, by the Serbian people, and in my life. Thank you.
Judy Karen got up and he started singing, "Shoo shoo baby, don't you cry, Inja coming by and by." And we all sang that song.
The one year we went to Lackawanna was really a fun year. We went and we took some of our fathers had started a kazoo band, and the kazoo band consisted of George Paich, Art Drakulik, John Salvi, and my husband Reddy, and they dressed in old clothes. And I have to say, it was a lot of fun. They took the house down when we were up in Lackawanna.
And we also had picnics at Doherty's Grove for just the members and, the family and kids and all. And we had a softball game. We played against our husbands, and we won.
My uncle, this would be my grandmother's, brother, decided to go visit some people. And he had been on a streetcar with my grandparents, but he knew where the people lived, but he didn't pay attention to how they signaled for the streetcar to stop. So he was on the streetcar alone, and they were open at the time. And as he saw that the streetcar was going past the stop that he needed to get off, he didn't know how to tell them he wanted off. So he decided to jump off because he was used to riding horses, but he landed on the pavement and he was killed.
never fails. Our people came through. Always our people came through. We're blessed here at St. Nicholas. We've been blessed to have the leadership, the people of this church, our priests, and that's why the way we are today. The reason is because of all those people who have all contributed, and all without fanfare, without pats on the backs. They just done it. They just done it. Just look at the people, the years they've spent here. You know, years. But years of being away from their families and commitment and sacrifice. And that's what this St. Nicholas is all about.
Didn't have a car, and I used to go to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Export. And then later on, when I grew a little older, the Wisliches and the Visniks used to take me to church, and that's how I started getting involved, and that's where I met my husband at church.
We worked over under the little church over there and carried things up steps to the Lithuanian Hall. And believe you and me, we worked hard. Even with the choir, we done the same thing. We worked hard. And everybody done the share, I will say. Most everybody. I won't say everybody, but most everybody.
And when he came home on leave, he was staying with the Volantich family up on Prospect Street, and that's the street behind where my mother lived. And Mrs. Volantich, they were Croatian, and she said, "Milan, go down over the hill. There's a lovely Serbian girl for you." And so my dad knew, I think, my one Uncle Marco, and so they stopped down at the house, and my mom said she'll never forget that day because she was sitting on the front porch watching the trains go by, and she had her hair in rollers, and she was so embarrassed that this nice young man came to the house to meet her. But it all worked out really well because in 1944 they ended up married when my dad was home on leave from the military, and the rest is history. They were married 54 years when my dad passed away, and just recently my mom passed away, so they're together again.
My greatest memory about my childhood is that my mother and dad were so Serbian and so Orthodox that they instilled that within me. They help people regardless who they are, regardless what walk of life they came from. They believe firmly in our Lord Jesus Christ and God.
ćemo se curice opet voleti. Aj, malo ja, malo ti, malo ja, pa ćemo se curice opet voleti. Uba, 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 ubava, uba, uba, ubava, curo garava. Uba, 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 ubava, uba, uba, ubava, curo garava.
I started a Bible study with Steve Klippa and I were Bible school teachers at our church in Wilmerding, and some wonderful memories, and a lot of the kids who were our students over the years coming back, because I moved to California 34 years ago, they'd always say what a tough teacher I was, but they really learned.
I've been proud to be a member of the choir for over 50 years, and as president of the choir probably longer than any other president of the organization. As far as I can remember, I think it's about 28 years that I served as president of the choir, and every time that I did, I was happy to do so. I felt that I had a lot to offer, and it's just a wonderful organization.
And then when somebody would get a car, you know, when they were old enough to drive, while Pete Cookage was the only one that could get a car. And I mean, we thought we were in heaven, because we would all go out as a group. We all were, kids growing up at our time, boys and girls played together as a group. We did things together as a group, and it was fun time, which we didn't realize at the time. What a good time that was.
Many people walked again from Wall to Wilmerding, and we sang the whole way down. There were the Gojkoviches, and there was the Novakoviches, the Melgens, the Belches. That was Tuli Belch, Tuli Sonovic, Dorothy Drazic. Later on, Milas Padishan joined us. He drove. We were walkers. And then as years went by, more people drove to choir practice.
Well, my recollections of my old days at St. Nicholas certainly extend with a lot of memories. Just the ride to church through the valley every Sunday, through Braddock and the Turtle Creek Valley to Wilmerding. Just the Sunday school teachers probably are the most standouts. Believe it or not, I was Sophie Vargo student. I had never forget my mom. She was one of the teachers. Mrs. Johnson, the late Mrs. Johnson, the late Sophie Benda, Bertha Servo, Ani Drakelik. Trying to think of who else. Obviously the Klippa brothers, Pete and Steve Klippa, probably just very excellent mentors for me as a youth growing up in St. Nicholas.